name is Danny.
And I'm Danny, and welcome to Soup Troop Online.
We're so excited for this episode, you guys. We have a great guest, and we are so excited to ring in the new year of soups. So first, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, what is Soup Troop, you might ask? Well, Soup Troop was started by me and my work husband, Cole Wright Shaner, in the ripe year of 2017 at Frenchwoods Festival for the Performing Arts. We thought there was not a safe space in which we could discuss soups, at the level of viscosity, taste, texture that they needed to be discussed at. And so we created a safe environment. Danny joined on board the next year, and we have been doing this ever since. And we moved online, starting the coronavirus pandemic, to bring soups to a wider audience nationwide and across the world.
Amazing. Well, Happy New Year, you guys. We're so excited that you guys joined us for our first episode of 2021. So, Danny, I was wondering, do you have any New Year's soup-olutions?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm so glad you asked. So we've been doing a lot of soup talk on Soup Troop, and so we've been doing soup forever, but it's always been about the Frenchwood soups. And so through Soup Troop Online and all of the guests we've been having, I've been learning a lot about soup that I didn't know. And so my New Year's soup-olution is to try soups, worldwide, not just from here in our own country. Mondongo, vichyssoise, pho, these are all things that we've talked a lot about that I have not tasted yet. And so in 2021, a new year, that's my hope, is to try all of these flavors and really get the essence, velvet soups,
That was amazing, Danny. Of course.
Thank you. I mean, we got it at this point. Do you have any New Year's soup-olutions? Which, great word.
Thank you. I made it up myself. I would like to say, I'm not a huge fish person. For those of you who know me personally, you know I will never eat fish. But the other day, I had a lobster bisque that was absolutely phenomenal. So my New Year's soup-olution is to try soups with flavors that I might not normally go for, Maybe try a clam chowder, another lobster bisque, try some soups with flavors that I don't usually enjoy having, because truly, soup changes the flavor of a food, and it really enhances that flavor. So my New Year's soup-olution would be to try some more fishy soups,
I love that. I have brought it up before, but Danny, if you are going to try another lobster bisque, the best in the world is at Princeton Soup and Sandwich. You'll never get a better lobster bisque. It's creamy, it's blended thoroughly. So if you're looking for a thick biscuit soup, you're not going to get it. But it's phenomenal, and you really must try it.
Amazing. I love that.
Absolutely. That being said, we are so very excited to welcome our special guest. His name is, of course, Sir Robbie Rozelle. You know him from his new album, Songs Inside My Locker, which was recorded live at Fine Sense People Below with his show, To Drink Minimum. He did Bustin' Out. He's run the podcast Gay Card Revoked. He did Tuesdays at 54 Below. He did so many other cabarets there with Jessica Fosk and Nathan Salstone and so many other people. He is the resident A&R director and in-house designer for Broadway Records, and he runs Ghostlight Design. We are so excited and lucky to welcome the new year of Soup Troop with Mr. Robbie Rozelle.
Happy Soup Year!
Happy Soup Year!
Welcome. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you for coming on Soup Troop.
Thank you for getting me out of the house. Oh.
All right. The first question that we like to ask people on Soup Troop is, what is your favorite soup memory?
Oh, good, great entrance question. First of all, so glad you asked. My husband is from a little town in Pennsylvania, and he went to Bloomsburg University, right? So I went and visited him there, and there's a restaurant there. Oh, I wish I could remember the name of the restaurant. Doesn't matter. However, they had an Irish baked potato soup that is truly the greatest thing that I've ever put in my mouth. It's so good I had to get the recipe, which I don't ask, because chefs are not here's my award-winning thing, please take it and run with it. They did. And it's baked potatoes and heavy cream and butter, and you use a pound of bacon at the top that you deep fry off, you fry it off, and then you use that bacon fat for the onion that goes within and the garlic. It is it's a heart attack in a bowl, and it's glorious.
That sounds amazing. I
Yeah.
love a baked potato soup. That is
Right?
delicious. Yes.
And especially like loaded. You want sour cream on there. You want cheddar cheese on there. You want the bacon on there. Give me all the bits.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sounds so good.
I
Mhm.
have to say, I just accepted a new job at Chili's. Very exciting, exhilarating experience.
Wow.
But
Wow.
the first days of like training, you get to take home a meal, and I've been taking home a lunch combo. I've really been messing with them. But I get the baked potato soup every time, and I'm sure it doesn't compare to the one that we had. But Chili's baked potato soup, I mean, hard to go wrong. Really good.
Truly. Well, a baked potato soup is a lot like pizza. Even if it's bad, it's still pretty okay.
You can't
Right?
go wrong with bacon and cheese. I mean, on anything, truly.
Just inject it into the artery, honestly. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have to congratulate you on your album, Songs from Inside My Locker. It's absolutely wonderful. Hilarious. So can you tell us a little bit about the recording and writing of that experience? And if your high school self could eat any soup from inside your locker, which would that be and why?
Oh, okay. So Songs from Inside My Locker started sort of as a dare by somebody who works at 54, because I kept working with all these really amazing people. I would like write and direct their shows with and for them, like Jessica Vosk or Melissa Errico or Kate Baldwin. These just wonderful people. And I don't like to do, there's like a sort of trope in cabaret that's like, I was going to be an actress, so I moved to New York City and my boyfriend broke my heart. Here's the song about my cat. That's like nobody cares. Nobody wants that show. Seen that show. La La Land is that show, right? Nobody needs Solo in Boulder City. So I kept doing these shows, and KJ, who works there, would always say to me, you should really just do your own show. And I was like, nobody would come to that. And one day, I had just finished Nika Graf Lanzaroni's show, and same thing, you should do your own show, and nobody would come to that. And I put it up on Facebook. I was like, hi, hypothetically, if I did like a hypothetical thing, would you come hypothetically to the hypothetical thing that I'm not actually doing? And an hour later, I had a date and a contract. I had everything but a show. So of course, I turned to the cabaret trope of I was going to be an actress. So I moved to New York City, and my boyfriend dumped me. And here's a song about my cat. I truly I created a show of like stupidity. That's like what the original show was, because we sold out like that day, and it was nuts. But I also knew like what my limitations are as a singer and like as a performer. I'm very funny, but there's not like a lot. Nobody's signing up for the Robbie Roselle ballad. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this character actor, Nicely Johnson, to wander in and sing "Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat" and get the fuck out. That's my whole track. So I had to like form a show around that. And so I just I looked at like this sort of awful high school experience that I had growing up as a young gay. Before Ellen or Will and Grace, and how that informed to this day everything that I've done. And it was just a one-off, and it was stupid, but I had my great band behind me, the 2 Drink Minimum, 6 pieces, and it sounded really wonderful. And then we got asked back, and then like a year later, I got an email from Jennifer Ashley Tupper, former guest of your show. Saw that episode. So, and she was like, hey, do you maybe want to be the Pride headliner this year? This was like a month and a half out. Now, here's what she didn't tell me. She didn't say that I was replacing Lorna Luft, who is Judy Garland's daughter, who had just had like a brain aneurysm and like hemorrhage and had to pull out, right? Did not list. I would love to see the list of names that they went down until they hit me at the very bottom. I was like, yeah, okay, I don't have anything that night. I don't like to party. So we did Busted Out, and there's some fun video online of that. You can see like me and Jessica Vosk, Christina Sajou from SpongeBob singing Step Too Far from Aida on YouTube. It's all there. Anyway, we had a blast. And at that point, I was like, I should record this. It sounds really good. And we picked up a little bit of what Bustin' Out was the Pride show, and dropped it dead into the center of most of songs from inside my locker and recorded it. And what started out as like a one-off just to entertain my friends became like, I think, like a really touching, wonderful thing, which is nice. So all that to say, I had a lot of soup in my locker as a kid because I was shoved into many of them. And I had 3 in high school. 3, because you get your gym locker, never used it. You have your main locker, and then because my high school, Johnson City High School, was famous for their choir. The choir, that wing had their own lockers that were passed down from seniors. I was an 8th grader. I had my own. So I had 3 lockers, and in them, I would say, honestly, in high school, it was probably like a beef barley situation.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Because it's like hearty, it gets you through the day, but you don't have a lot of time to eat at lunchtime because you got to run off to a rehearsal for something like Sophisticats, the show choir. You're welcome, Glee watchers. That's how Who sees it. That's how it all went down. Beef barley.
Yeah. I think that would be fabulous in a little thermos that goes in your box.
Sure. Come on. Go for it right now.
We know you've worked on so many amazing cabarets at 54 Below with so many incredible, wonderful people. And we were wondering, what was your favorite cabaret to work on? And have you tried any of the 54 Below soups? And if so, what is your favorite one?
My favorite of the shows that I've done at 54, and there's so many, and it's like choosing children, but we all have our favorite child. And mine was probably Jessica Vosk's Being Green. That show was insane. It was so stupid. It was about her time on the tour of Wicked, but without using any songs from Wicked. And I want to say like half of Wild and Free came from that album, came from that show, came from Being Green. The soups at 54, I have had several. So when I did Tuesdays at 54, which was like a 7-month talk show, right? I had my own menu, and I know it was like a diner menu because I turned 54 into like a Denny's for the night. That's how it went down. And we had like a lower ticket price, and we had it was great. There were donuts on the menu and beef nachos that you can't just roll into a Patti LuPone show and get those beef nachos. No, ma'am. I don't even think they exist anymore because the show's not there. Well, nothing's there. But when things come back, I don't think they're going to reappear. We also had drinks that were named after things. We had like the Road to Hell, which was like a hurricane for Hadestown, right? And my favorite was Clara's Pony, which if you know, Light in the Piazza, when Clara was 12, we rented a pony to give them rides, and he kicked a Clara's Pony. So stupid, so niche, and so specific, and I love it. So they have a great lobster bisque. They have a spectacular lobster bisque.
Oh my goodness.
Wonderful. I feel like I also had a really good split pea and ham there. I feel like.
I've never even heard that they had either of those soups.
Yeah. See, I'm Danny Feldman's biggest fan, so I have been to 54 Below several times, and to see my lovely best friend. Danny. And I had a soup every single time I was there, for obvious reasons.
Sure.
And my favorite 54 Below soup is the cream of mushroom soup. It is absolutely delicious. It's an incredible soup.
Y'all love some mushrooms, but Daddy's got an allergy. And so sadly, not if you want me alive to keep doing shows like this.
I would say my favorite's got to be, there's the butternut squash.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Yes, and it's $12, right? So if you're a college kid, you go exactly no further than $25. So you get the butternut squash and the mac and cheese, which is $13.
With the bacon on top. Oh, baby.
25. You're killing it.
While I was there, I had the I would see other things because like Broadway Records, which is the record label I work for, there's like 35 54 Below albums like they were all recorded there. We have like a contract. It's fantastic. But I would be able to go and see things. And because the servers and the hosts, et cetera, all knew me from my residency, if they wanted to try something out, they knew that this bitch is a good guinea pig and would just wander. They'd be like, oh, we're trying onion rings these days. And I was like, yeah, thanks. I'm an eater. That butternut squash, though, with like that little drizzle of olive oil. Yeah, that's
Definitely. So we know that you also co-host a podcast called Gay Card Revoked.
I do.
We need to know a little bit about that. And if you could interview any soup, what soup would it be, and which pressing questions would you be asking them on Gay Card?
Whew. Okay, so Gay Card Revoked, which is a podcast that every single one of you should open up your phone and subscribe to right now. Thank you so much. 5 stars, please. Rate, review. So it's a podcast. There's an excellent restaurant on the Upper West Side called Maison Pickle. And Maison Pickle is like a French dip and cocktails. That's their whole menu. And they do French fries and duck fat, and it's very good. There are soups on the menu. I have not tried them because I go straight to a French dip. I'm so sorry. Also, they have like pull-apart bread that's like, I'm a carb queen. I'm a carb queen. So I had dinner there with my co-host, Rob Schneider, who also hosts another podcast called Behind the Curtain, Broadway's Living Legends. We were just having dinner there, and this like adorable twink waiter, our server, came up and he was like, oh my God, I know you. I've been to your show on Tuesdays. And I live for the applause. It was so lovely. And Rob turned to me and made a reference. He said, oh my God, are you having a soap dish moment right now? And in the film Soap Dish, Sally Field goes to the Paramus Mall in New Jersey. She is a soap star who needs to be seen to be validated. So she is having a bad day and they hop out to a mall in Paramus, New Jersey so that somebody can go, oh my God, Celeste Talbot, will you sign my thing? And then they're just crowded around her and she's fulfilled. I understand that. It fills me. So when he said, are you having a soap dish moment? This poor, sweet twink Bambi just blinked twice. I had no idea what we were talking about. And so a podcast was born where we are, we're talking about gay totems, like films and theater and music that is important to queer culture and queer history for the children, for the youths. So every week we bring somebody on to talk about also, well, like the last one was holiday specials that are just wackadoo that we need to discuss, like a Very Brady Christmas. That's a thing that happened. Not a lot of people know about. Or how Hermie the elf is a twink in love with, yeah, I said it. All of Rudolph is a coming out story, truly. So now I need to think of a fabulous soup that would be queer culture, right? And that puts me in mind of Vichyssoise, which I personally have not had, but I'm saying Vichyssoise because I know the musical Nonsense very well. And in the musical Nonsense, the plot is set in motion because Sister Julia, Child of God, the chef of the nunnery, serves them all poisoned Vichyssoise soup, and all but 6 of the nuns die. And they, or 5 of the nuns, have all died. And they have 4 left in the freezer. They have enough money to bury all but 4. They've got 4 nuns in the freezer. The health inspector is on the way. And so they're holding the show as a fundraiser because of Sister Julia, Child of God, who has poisoned them all with Vichyssoise. And that is gay culture.
Danny and I were just talking about Vichyssoise. Like about maybe like 30 minutes ago tops, I was on Safari. I was like, what is in Vichyssoise? I was like, Danny thought it was a cucumber soup. But then Danny,
so any fan would know, and maybe even you, Robbie, on the Jennifer Tepper episode, describing a cucumber mint soup, and Danny jumped in and said, Vichyssoise. And Jen was like, oh, yeah, that's it. Which, like, that's not what it is. But neither of it, like, both Danny and I, like, had no idea that's not what Vichyssoise was. And so we've been like living
A lot.
a lie. And so in preparation for the solution question,
Yeah.
I was like, this is why is not an American soup, right? And we looked it up, and it's not a
No, it's a French soup.
yeah.
Yeah.
We found that out. And then we found out there was no cucumber. Or in
Oh, I had a fantastic. I was in Nice, France 2 summers ago, right? And we went to this dinner. It was my honeymoon, so this dinner that was like all truffle forward. Everything was like truly. It was 6 courses, and you would think that's way too much, and it wasn't. And there was like a really beautiful truffle soup that started it, which strangely I'm not allergic to, even though I have a mushroom allergy.
That's so interesting. Lucky you. I love truffle.
Yeah.
Bougie, you know?
Thank you. Also, like, what about gazpacho? Because, like, Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, when you walked into the theater, the scrim was just a gazpacho recipe. Why is that not talked about more?
I think we should talk about it more
Do
frequently.
you know how many times I sat there just to watch Sherry Renee Scott lisp her way and say gazpacho? Like 500 times. Gazpacho.
Danny, I think we should invest in a gazpacho curtain. I think it really, really make the show so much better.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a StreamYard background for yourself. Green screen in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. All right. So as a writer, we want to ask you, what was your favorite thing to write and why? And if you could make a soup into a Broadway musical, which soup do you think would shine the brightest on The Great White Way?
You don't make things easy, do you? Danny squared. Okay. My favorite thing to write, I did a show with Nika Graff Lanzaroni called Hero Worship. And Nika is from a huge theater family. Her mother is Eileen Graff, who was in the original cast of I Love My Wife and on Mr. Belvedere. And her cousin is Randy Graff, who won the Tony for City of Angels and was the original Fantine over here. And her uncle is Todd Graff, who wrote Camp, which is about a different theater camp that is not French Woods. Never heard of it. Anyway, but we did the show called Hero Worship, and it was 3 sections, and it started with like her family, and like we celebrated all these crazy people, and then we celebrated her theater icons, right? Stephen Sondheim and like the people that she's worked with. It was beautiful, and then into this sort of pop rock section that had like Wonderwall in it and Ani DeFranco, like all sorts of crazy stuff. We wrote this gorgeous mashup for her, which you can find at robbierosell.com, of What Can You Lose and What I Did for Love. That's just chef's kiss. Spectacular. Now, all that to say, what soup would be the best Broadway musical? And I'm going to say a sensible chicken pot pie, probably Hale and Hearty. Here's why. It's always one of the 10, right? You walk in, you know, if you're not, you every day, like I work in Midtown, and so I'm at a Hale and a Hearty a lot. Hale and a Hearty is not a real thing. Hale and Hearty is. So, and I know walking in sometimes, I'm just in the mood for like chicken pot pie because it's reliable. It's like Chicago on Broadway. You know, going in, you're going to enjoy yourself, right? It's well done, well executed. It's going to taste good going down. And it pulls like the biscuits. It pulls the mirepoix. It pulls the cream, which I love me a creamy soup.
Oh.
Baked potato, we discussed, right? And always without those oyster crackers, come on, because we have a crunch. And that is a Broadway musical.
I have had the chicken pot pie soup from Hale and Hearty almost every time
Right?
I go there.
Now, I will say their chili over rice, also excellent.
Mm.
Yeah. So it just depends on weather.
So as a host at Science and 54 Below, so that you have to think quickly on your feet all the time.
All the time.
So right now, can you tell us a soup joke?
A soup joke. No. Oh God, because I would need to write it and set up like something and a punchline. But something will fly out of me at some point as we're talking that will be your soup joke.
Okay.
We will use it every episode.
Great, feel good about that.
Amazing. Oops, sorry.
But you guys love soup. This was all born out of your love of soup. What Broadway show is a soup?
Is a soup. That's okay. So, great question. And no
Thank
one
you.
ever asked us that before. No one ever asked this question.
Do you like that I flipped it because I too am a host?
I did. I really did.
Thank you. I am a Broadway World Award nominated host.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Ooh.
It's a selfie stick of awards. Anybody can get one.
So, okay. So when I think soup, and I think Danny and I have kind of curated this definition of soup, which is that it brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think nothing brings people together more of different backgrounds and different beliefs on the world than comedy. Is how I really view that. And so for me, it's gonna have to be something so stupid and so tasty. And so I'm gonna have to give you a Honeymoon in Vegas, the Jason Robert Brown Spectacular, is like the soup musical.
I'm into that. I saw that at Paper Mill and Broadway.
Jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
It was great. So good. What about you, Danny Squared?
So, again,
It's a new name for you. You're welcome.
thank you for asking us because we've never been on the other side of the desk.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it really is. But we ask soup questions all the time,
Mhm.
and I want to know from you: is this like what show we think is a soup, or what soup we could make into a show, or
Let's say, what show do you think is a soup
okay?
and why? I guess
Um,
technically any show is a soup,
yeah.
but I want you to take one, I would say currently running, but nothing is. So will reopen. One show that will reopen, and what soup is that? And I don't want to hear Hadestown is a gumbo because it's set in New Orleans. Shutting that down right now.
Obviously not. No way.
Too easy.
Way out.
So for me, right before Broadway left, the last show that I saw was something that really like changed my whole world on Broadway, and that was Jagged Little Pill.
Okay.
And when I saw that that musical,
Play the music.
it made me realize what Broadway needs to be going forward, and that is a show that asks the important questions and really it changes the point of view of the audience and makes people think. So that's the art that I always want to create. So for me, I think that Jagged Little Pill would have to be the soup that really changes the world. And it's one of the first musicals that I've seen in a really long time that discusses really hard to talk about topics and things that audiences really need to see right now. So I think that is the soup, because soup really, I like to say soup is an experience. And I think that Jagged Little Pill is an experience. I don't think that it's like a nice, comforting, hearty soup. I think that it's a soup that makes you really think and really.
Yeah, it's a spicy tortilla soup.
Yeah. Something
that makes it hits every part of the palate, and you go, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I like this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Since we could not come up with a soup-based joke, we are moving on.
Oh, but what Broadway character loves soup the most? Mary Poppins, because she thinks it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I would like to say that Danny made that joke last episode. We had a guest who was in the original cast, not the original cast. She was in Mary Poppins on Broadway, and Danny made that exact same joke.
I don't know her.
No.
Well, thank you. That was actually a very good joke. I really appreciate that. You and Danny are on the same wavelength.
What a gift, honestly.
All right, so it is that time in the day where we will be playing a game.
Oh.
This game is called Cast That Soup. So how this game is going to work is we're going to give you a soup, and you will cast that soup in its very own soup array. Tell us who is starring in this soup cabaret, and what iconic Broadway tunes would that soup be singing?
Oh, okay. So I'm taking a soup,
Yes.
putting it in their own show, and what iconic songs are they singing and why?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Right.
And away we go.
Chicken noodle soup.
Chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup is honestly in So Long Boulder City because it's like it can be the most bland thing that you've ever had and kind of boring. It's there and you'll enjoy, but do you really want to pay the minimum for it? But we'll sing such classic songs as they'll probably open with Cabaret from Cabaret because that's how generic it will be. And it will go into like Call Me Maybe. Yeah, there's no grand finale really. She'll sing a song for Times Like This, a girl could use a dog from Lucky Stiff. Yeah.
That song's in my book.
Great. It's a great song. But that's what it would be, chicken noodle soup.
Cabaret I was in, so feeling a little embarrassed.
You know what? We'll do something better for you.
All right, next soup we have is cream of mushroom soup.
Hard for me to write for mushrooms.
Understood.
But I feel like a cream of mushroom soup would do like a composer tribute show.
Ooh.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to do like a Cy Coleman music, like all Cy, like My Guy Cy, right? Or My Friend Fungus, like that kind of thing, right? Cy and I. And like Oldest Profession is going to be in there from The Life. I Got Your Number. We're going to get some The Minute You Walked In. Actually, it'll probably play at 54 Below. So it opens with If They Could See Me Now, because, oh, look, I'm in this fancy basement and I'm a soup who's got a band. So that's important. Right. That's what's going to happen there. Cream of mushroom, Cy and I.
Absolutely. Okay. Loaded with sour cream baked potato soup.
Oh, so that's an all stops out Carnegie Hall special, right? That's like Bernadette Peters plays Carnegie. That's Judy Garland at Carnegie, 1963. There's a great episode of that on Gay Card Revoked that you just signed up for. So, but that's like the balls out concert, and it's gonna just be Broadway my way, and it's just it opens with Almost Like Being in Love, and Hello Young Lovers is there, and This Can't Be Love, and it's like there's a love song section, but then there's also like a section of like Demon Women of Theater, and there's like a 20-minute long Meadowlark that has rap in it. And we don't know why, but why not? When I was a girl, I had a favorite story of a meadowlark who lived where the rivers wind. The voice could match the angels in its glory. She was blind. The lark was blind. Thank you.
That was incredible.
Let's put that in your for 2021.
Next, we have chicken tortilla soup.
Oh, great. So that's not going to be at 54. That's a Joe's Pub. That's a Joe's Pub kind of soup. And I feel like it's going to be like Spanglish, right? It's going to be the songs that made me, the songs that I sing. And so they're going to take Broadway standards, but give them like a Latin twist of some sort. So again, you will hear Meadowlark, but there will be bongos underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're going to hear The Impossible Dream sung in both Spanish and English.
Ooh.
Probably over each other.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that.
I feel great about that. I would love to see that.
All right. French onion soup.
So that's playing the Cafe Carlisle because it's a rich soup. It's a rich bish soup. And it's gonna be all Rodgers and Hart songs, right? Beautifully sung, just like the French onion soup is like leaned against the piano, like the crook of the piano, right? And just lounged there, like that soup is Lena Horne. It's just living in the crook of that piano. And then for no reason, the encore of this Rodgers and Hart show is going to be a Tori Amos song. Why? Just to fuck with the status quo. Just a little. And you're going to pay $800 to see it and go, why? I can never come here again. I can't afford this. But it will be great. And you'll wait for it to transfer to 54 below where it's a little more affordable.
Amazing. So our last soup of Cast That Soup is butternut squash soup.
Oh, yes, I see it. Butternut squash soup is actually a duo, right? It's a two-hander kind of show, and it's like it's a solo singer, but they are celebrating two important writers, and those writers are Oscar Hammerstein and Stephen Sondheim.
Ooh.
Because Steve was famously Oscar's mentee, right? And you've all read the bio. I'm pointing at it because it's behind me. But like because of that, the Todd Allman's going to music direct it, and he's going to like weave those songs together. And for no reason whatsoever, but just because Mandy Patinkin's going to wander out and do a 20-minute set of You Got to Be Carefully Taught, even though he wasn't invited. But it's going to be worth it because that's a story that you can tell people.
Yeah,
of course.
Like I have a story about Patti LuPone using me as a footrest that I can tell people for the rest of my life. The viewers of this butternut squash Oscar and Steve concert, I love that they're just hand puppets, are going to be. They'll talk about this forever because why? I don't know. A weird drunk Mandy Patinkin wandered on stage and saying, "You've got to be carefully taught" into like half a folly. It was honestly, it was great. It changed my life, but I don't know why it was there.
Amazing. Congratulations. You have just won the first ever game of Cast That Soup and the first game of the new year. Congratulations.
Happy Soup Year.
That was exhilarating. And what's even more exhilarating is this Q&A coming up. I have not been looking at the questions because
Me neither.
so many of them. So this first one comes from Ellie Perlman. She says, it's time. It's time to overcome your high school bullies. And what's your event, other than successful and joyful life, than pouring soup on your bullies? What soup do you think would work best?
I'm thrilled to tell you to answer that question, Ellie Perlman, who I don't know, but we're going to really go and get very joyful about this. Wonton soup. Let me tell you why. It is the hottest shit. When it gets delivered to you and you've waited 20 minutes, it's still like you cannot eat it right away or you will not have a tongue. And so I'm going to go ladle by ladle down in there and just actually not even a ladle. Ladle's too small. I'm going in with a bucket. And I'm going to scald those bitches until they look like Freddy Krueger. But also we should be kinder and gentler in the new year. So
I think a bucket of wonton is
wonton, or a nice cold vichyssoise because I don't want to kill anyone. And, yeah, but wonton, it's really wonton.
Absolutely. Next one comes from Alicia Bartosik. She says, "Happy Valentine's Day. A secret admirer leaves a soup in your locker. You taste it and immediately fall in love with them. What soup did it with you?"
Yeah, great. It's a good question. It's odd because I am wed. And so to have a secret admirer is thrilling but forbidden. And so it would need to be like a velvety sort of like a potato leek pureed situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's like velvety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Like a Hermione Granger love potion, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
This next one comes from C. Harger, who says, instead of Frank making Rocky a man, he makes Rocky into a soup. What soup do you think would please all of Frank's desires?
I love that question. A couple years ago, true story, I played both almost in rep. They were basically on top of each other. Charlie Brown and Jurgen Man Charlie Brown and Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Show, because I've got what range. What soup is gonna give all the desires? Just 7 days. I can make you a soup. Ooh, 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 ooh. I feel like it is. I feel like it's a French onion, but it's made with like an apple brandy.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. So it uses like brodo beef broth as its like base, and then 3 different kinds of onions and some shallot, some applejack brandy to build, and some thyme. And it's like a slow, long simmer to release everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what that is.
that was gorgeous. And you brought up a great excellent point. If you're out there in Manhattan, on the Upper East, on the upper, and you are looking for
On the upper.
It's not, honestly.
and you're looking for a coffee cup of broth, a straw, a nice glass window. The only place to do that is at Brodo Broth Company. They're wonderful, and they will fill that craving very wholly. I don't know what sentence that was, but
You look so moved by it.
I'm about to cry.
Yeah, I feel it. It's like seeing the Diary of Anne Frank for the first time. That's how moving that was to me.
agreed. Well,
If we could be sponsored by Brodo Broth, I think that would be my dying wish. My life would be fulfilled if we were sponsored by Brodo.
But let's not call it your dying wish, because if the sponsorship happens, you would like to keep that.
Of course.
Hold on one second. Hi. Hey, Brodo Broth. What's up? It's beloved cabaret icon Robbie Roselle here with Soup Troop Online. And I got a little message just for you. These kids love you. They love you probably more than they love Stephen Sondheim. And that's a lot. That's a lot, Brodo. I understand that they enjoy you more than they enjoy any guilty pleasure Frank Wildhorn score. That's a great deal. And yes, they can get you on the upper. They can get you frozen at Green Bay markets here in Astoria, New York. But what they need from you, what they crave, what they yearn from you is just a sponsorship to say that you know that they know how much they love you. This is beloved cabaret icon Robbie Roselle.
thank you so much. That will be just for all of you guys out there. Not only will that be emailed to Brodo, but it will be on the Soup Troop Instagram, and we'll expect all of the fans to tag Brodo in the comments.
Tag it.
Of course.
That was gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Thank
Great.
you.
Moving on, this next question comes from Mr. Justin Parrish, who says, a new dish is sweeping the nation. It is revolutionary within the culinary world. Hard soup. Which soup would make the smoothest transition into being an alcoholic soup?
Oh. I heard revolutionary and went straight to Grey Gardens, which makes me think of East Hampton. Oh, hi. Thank heaven you're here. We've made a hard soup for you today, Mother Darling. And that soup is... Suddenly I became Barbara Streisand. And that soup is... It's a vodka bisque. It's a vodka bisque soup. Because vodka, it's basically potatoes. I have to think these things up myself. And so it's potato vodka soup. What more need be said? Not a word need be spoken. Mother Darling doesn't like the soup. She thinks it's pate. It's just a pride parade. I'm just
Gorgeous. Stunning.
fabulous.
This next one comes from Kaden Knight, who asks, my question is, if soups were bolted against humans and won, what soup would lead the revolution?
Tomato basil.
Easy. Done. Moving on.
Come on, right?
Great, awesome.
Yeah.
Ms. Anna Spenley says, surprise, on your birthday, you are visited by 3 ghosts representing the past, present, and the future. All of them come bearing a gift. Soup. What soups would the 3 ghosts carry?
I love that this is now a birthday carol instead of a Christmas carol.
Hmm.
So the ghost of the past is going to be baked potato soup because it's a memory, right?
Okay.
And it's like what I'm always aspiring to when I'm making my own. The ghost of birthday present is bringing me what I have on my stovetop right now. It's been stewing for a day and a half. I'm making a ham. I made a ham. I glazed a ham for New Year's Eve. And we took the leftover ham and that bone in our homemade chicken broth with some cannellini beans and mirepoix and some thyme leaves and some bay. And so it's a ham and bean soup that's present. It's going to be in my present momentarily. And a future soup is, I feel like it's a soup that I have not gotten to yet, but should. And so that's probably like a shrimp lo mein sort of soup, right? Like a shrimp pho, let's say. Is that a real thing? I feel like that is.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what? I live in New York. You can get anything here. Anything. Dollar pizza, shrimp pho, whatever the fuck you want. It's going to be a shrimp pho, I think.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we only have time for one more question, and that's going to come from Sam Vanna, who says, if every soup you've ever consumed had to test their wills in a Hunger Games-esque, no pun intended, battle royale, which soup do you think would rise above all the rest?
It's a great question, Sam. Wow, what an intriguing way to end this Final Fantasy Dungeons and Dragons moment we're having. On 52nd Street by the post office, there's a wonderful Vietnamese restaurant, and they have a hanger steak stew. Yeah, you heard me. That is slow simmered and it's like falling apart tender. With noodles. And on the side, of course, they bring like pickled jalapeno and chili spices so you can set your spice. I like a little heat. That's the one that's going to rise above because, one, it starts with a beef base. Strong like bull. 2, it has the kick of the spices that you add to it. 3, the noodles that can tie every other soup up. I know soup is slippery, but if you got enough noodles, you can do anything. And that is what's going to, honestly, that's what we're inaugurating on January 20th.
Yeah.
Soup for president, honestly?
Honestly.
Of
Well,
course.
Joe Biden first, because we got some shit to fix. But
Yeah.
2024, soup for prez.
Absolutely.
Amazing. That is all the time we have today. So thank you so much for coming on our show. This has been a lovely, hilarious, Broadway-filled episode, and we are so grateful to have you here as our first guest in the new year.
Thanks for asking me.
Of course. Will the people at home please join us in giving Robbie Rozelle a 1, 2, 3.
We're here for you.
And I for you. May the soup be with you.
And with your spirit.
Shut it down.
Thank you so much, Robbie.
Bye. Thank you.
That was Robbie Rozelle. If you need to know more, which you do, about him, you can find all of that information on robbierozelle.com. He is absolutely amazing, and we are so excited to see all the cabarets he writes and is in now at Feinstein 54 Below and beyond when the world reopens. That being said, this has been another wonderful episode of Soup Troop Online. If you want more of it, which it's been 51 minutes and 8 seconds, so I think you do, you could follow us on Instagram at Soup Troop Official. You could like us on Facebook at Soup Troop Online, or you could like this video and subscribe to our channel below.
If you want to hear more about Soup Troop Online, you can read about us on BroadwayWorld.com. The link is in the description below.
With that being said, this has been so fun. My name is Danny.
And I'm Danny, and thank you for watching Soup Troop Online. Everybody at home, join us in a 1, 2, 3. Have a
super day. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Hey, Manny. So cute.
Yes! We're sweet soup we eat at lunch all day, all week. Oh, please meet us after lunch in the canteen. We're looking for you. To jump together through any room.
Please welcome members from every troop on every right now.
Yes! We're sweet soup we